Huddersfield woke up and started playing.
They did. They did.
And yeah, but then again, it was then with a patch of possession until, I don't know, what, the 65th minute or so, and then Salford scored a couple again, and you thought, oh, maybe it's going to be one of those that it swings both ways, and then it didn't really.
Not in the end.
Huddersfield went on.
Yeah.
I mean, there was that big long, about 15-minute stop in play, wasn't there, early on with the injury to O'Brien?
Yes, yeah.
Which,
I was going to reference that because that it was very, so it was very early. First 5 minutes, something like
yeah,
that.
within
It felt early anyway, very early. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's unlucky because he got his head in the wrong position, and it was.
yeah,
I don't think there was any foul play in it. It was just.
he put his head in the wrong place, didn't he?
It's something that happens, unfortunately, when you've got smaller kind of hookers, tackling bigger guys. But yeah, hopefully he's okay. But obviously that would have had quite a major impact in terms of having to reorganise. But I guess Cruz Lehman took advantage of that, didn't he? With his performance, he really seemed to take the opportunity that he had to be on the field more. And yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I saw somebody tweeting about how obviously, it's terrible for O'Brien to have picked up that injury, but actually they reckon that Leeming should be starting every match, and then by having Leeming on early, then would have been in the game plan. They reckon actually that sort of came to their advantage.
Maybe so. I mean, I think this we have this with a lot of interchange kind of hookers is we see that the difference that they make when they come on.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy for us to assume that they would just do that from the start, but that's not always.
No.
Sometimes their ability to make those breaks is determined by the tiredness of the forwards that they're facing.
Definitely, yeah. And their impact is because of them being the interchange.
Yes, I mean O'Brien does a massive amount of work, and big fan of any other business over here, but I think sometimes that kind of the effort that those players make in terms of tackles and that kind of stuff is sometimes lost slightly in the kind of the highlight reels, definitely.
Yeah.
In terms of who I thought really made a difference, I mean they talked about it in the commentary. Were the two blondes that came on for Huddersfield? Blonde
yeah,
Ambition.
they kept mentioning that, didn't they?
Yeah, and to be fair, they did. I think they did make a difference, particularly Matty English.
Yeah.
I think Wilson's obviously still very young. I mean, he'd only played a couple of times for Bradford before he moved, so you can't expect too much from him moving up to the Super League. But between them, I think whether the uptick in form coincided with them coming on, or whether it was just they did actually make had an impetus. I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, English scored a try, which always helps. But yeah, they just seem to react better, Huddersfield. So I was quite impressed ultimately with them, and they confounded all the tipsters.
They did indeed.
Yeah, I certainly didn't pick it.
No, but I must say I was singing Lion King songs afterwards with Ben Nakumbalai.
Indeed. The lion sleeps tonight. Any particular picks in terms of your star players or your highlight tries or anything like that you want to pick out?
Well, early on, I'd have gone Jackson Hastings because he was carving them up, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Throwing dummies, going through, and all the rest of it. But obviously that sort of stopped, and I don't know whether that stopped and therefore Salford's attack stopped, or whether Salford's attack stopped and therefore he wasn't able to do anything.
Yeah, I mean,
makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I think you're always a halfback will always look better behind a dominant pack, and
exactly, yeah.
Salford, maybe they've got some solid performers in their pack. Obviously we saw their Gill Hudson, good meters and good tackles and everything. But
I thought Josh Jones had a very good game, especially early on.
Yeah, well, I think as you said, very early on, you could have picked half the Salford side out as having a good game. I thought obviously Lolahere's second game he was quietish, but you kind of get that with a halfback slotting in usually.
but then for the next 60 minutes or so, you could pick half the Huddersfield team, I think.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think in terms of my best try, I think McIntosh's second was probably the best. But in terms of my player of the game, I probably couldn't go beyond Cruz Lee. I mean, I agree with Paul Mack that they're two players who've kind of come through their system and they're really making a difference for them. So
yeah,
long may it continue, but it definitely won't because that's just the league this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Who can tell what's going to happen next? Yeah, and certainly possibly another surprising result, depending on.
I was going to say, and leading on nicely.
Which side you sit on? On Friday night, it was Castleford against Leeds, and this one finished Castleford 10, Leeds 18. Leeds 6-0 up at half time. 8,147 were there, slightly lower than I might have thought. And Ben Thaler was the man in charge. Stats lie slightly on this one, as Leeds made 115 fewer metres, but they did make it at 1.2 metre per carry better average gain than Cass. The Rhinos lost the penalty count heavily because they were really happy to give away penalties, 13-6, but won the error count handily, 11-15. Because as soon as Cass got the ball, they decided to drop it. Biggest stat win in Leeds' favour was their 5.1% better team tackle success. For the winning Rhinos, Tom Briscoe looked good in this one, I thought. 1 try assist, 100 metres. Conrad Harrell, 106 metres. Ash Hanley, 109 metres. And Trent Mirren with a good try from the Cuthbert offload and 104 metres. For the losers, Liam Watts got 106 metres, 7 offloads and a sore head. James Clare with 2 quickfire tries, 5 tackle busts, 165 metres and 5 clean breaks. That's some good stat line. And Greg Minikin with 120 metres. What did people have to say about this one?
So Carsten said, Cass are pretty average in attack and Leeds have learned to defend, plus my tipping is shit. Oh, and someone should have warned Reece Martin about the size of the Cass pitch.
Yeah, I did like the look on his face after he kicked it off, and he was like, I was sure this pitch was longer than that.
What happened?
What happened there? But yeah, I mean, you do wonder about that because you would have thought that somebody would have been in his ear saying, "Look, this pitch is really short, Reece. Just take 10% off your kick, mate, and
you'll be about right."
And you'll be about right. But yeah, I mean, it could have had a major impact because obviously they were Cass were flowing at that point. Anyway.
I do think it can put the opposition at a massive disadvantage.
What in terms of handing the ball back straight away after scoring? It's one of those. It's one of those cardinal sins, isn't it? You don't want to give the ball straight back, but they managed to get over it. Neil McEwen said, "Wow, Cass are in trouble. They look clueless without Gale. I'd say without Truman as well. They made Leeds look like New South Wales tonight. Steady on. Surprised they extended Powell's contract today, as he looks to me like a new voice in the dressing room is needed. Cass have been poor since their grand final rogering."
DG Knight said, Cass working hard but looking devoid of confidence and generally clueless in attack as usual lately. Leeds look more resolute in defence and can't see them going down playing like that. Match highlight was Eden's face after that pass.
He knew he was in for a stern looking at. Mark says, do we start to believe in Richard Agar as Leeds' saviour?
Only until he gets a new contract and then he'll revert to form.
Well, keep him on a month-to-month contract then. That's surely the answer.
Do you know something? I was saying that about some of our players, that's what we should do because they pick up when they're after a new contract.
I reckon for your lot it might be a half-to-half contract.
Fair enough, yeah. Okay.
You've done all right. You can come back on it second now. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Agar. Defensive resilience from the Rhinos. But Cass had the possession and field position to win this game. They'll be fuming with themselves for letting it get away.
Yep. And Cutthroat Jake said, a few thoughts on the game. 1. The pass for Castleford's first try was forward, so I'm glad it didn't affect the end result. 2, don't get your new player to kick off as he may not realise how short the ground is. 3, if Agar continues to get the team to play like this, I'll happily eat a big slice of humble pie.
Tom Andrew says, how can it be about 5 years since Greg Eden has played for Hull KR and he's still fucking it all up for us? I blame Rob and his stupid hashtags. Let's use this one for now. FOIF, I'll let you decide what it stands for. Yes, we'll keep it PG, Tom, if that's all
right. Rich Wilkinson says, this is my first review in a while. Leeds' defence was simply outstanding. Cass were poor at times, but Leeds blew Cass off the park in winning the 1%ers and really forced Cass into making errors. Merrin is pure class. You can feel that things have changed with the team, and when you see it in the flesh, the team is massively united. The players, especially Merrin and Hurrell, have a real connection with the fans. Great to see.
Paul O'Brien says, a poor game from both sides, but Leeds took their chances and deserved the win.
Brendan Loftus got in touch and said, Daryl Powell, don't look like that when Greg Eden drops a bollock again. You picked him. Everyone knows he'll give the opposition more than he gives you. And you also picked Corey Aston. Still, well played. Leeds wanted it more.
Yeah, they did. Interesting one, this one, because I saw obviously a fair amount of discussion on social media about how Thursday night's game wasn't great. I have to say, I thought Thursday night, in terms of the quality of the match, was better than Friday night. I thought this game was turgid. I really did. I have to say, I thought Cass were a little unlucky. Is probably a bit too strong, but in terms of the Eden try that was called back, I think it was the right call, obviously, because there'd been a knock on before the possession had turned over. But yeah, it's if that's a non-televised game, that's given us a try every day, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought early on, I thought Leeds were quite casual with the possession that they had, but Cass just couldn't get it together. They couldn't string any passes together. There were way too many Cass passes hitting the floor. And when Leeds did look dangerous, they were just happy to hold down and give a penalty away or hold on to the ball under the posts.
Right, yeah.
In my opinion, and you see that in the penalty count, don't you? What was it, 13-6? I think.
Yeah, that's a massive difference in penalty, and yet for Leeds to be happy with that seemingly and come out with the win.
Well, I think they're obviously looking for a bit more control around the ruck, aren't they? Which is possibly where they've been going wrong before. And Leeds were more than, as I say, Cass were more than happy to drop the ball at will. It felt like for the vast majority of the first half, definitely. I do want to talk briefly about Singleton's hit on Watts.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I haven't, no.
Okay, right. So
tell me about it.
Okay, so Watts has offloaded the ball, Casser on the attack near Leeds' line, and Singleton has hit him late and high. And I think it was a penalty. But he's been charged and he's been given a 1-game ban for it.
Right.
Because it's been described as reckless.
Okay.
And I have to say, seeing it live, I thought he should have been given a yellow card.
Right.
I go back. I've said this multiple times on this podcast, so apologies for the repeat. But for me, this is a dereliction of care against a fellow professional.
Yeah.
He had plenty of opportunity to pull out and not hit him at all, but then to kind of contact him with his arm on the head when Watts has to go for a head check, and he's not guaranteed to pass that, but at the best of times.
Well, this is it. I guess the only advantage is his baseline's going to be low, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it is one of those things where Singleton's got away with it, and I do think actually, in some cases, there was an argument for putting Leeds on a team warning at times in terms of the number of back-to-back penalties.
Yeah.
And I don't recall ever seeing Thaler doing that. So they're always going to.
I must
keep
admit,
doing